response from our responsorial psalm today, from verse 7 and 8 of Psalm 95, is speaking to me and to you. Yes, it will address the Israelites many years ago, when the Israelites were stubborn and would not listen to the Lord, when they were in the wilderness and the Lord was speaking to them, and at one time they had no water, at one time they had no food, and they complained to Moses, and they were not listening to God. So King David composed his psalm and reminded them, even as they continued, the Lord gave them water, the Lord gave them food, but at one time that they were still complaining. So the Lord is telling them through this psalm, through King David, and telling them, oh, that today you listen to his voice, harden not your hearts. How many times have I refused to listen to the word of God? How many times have I complained? Perhaps many times. And therefore this psalm is speaking to me and to you directly. He's telling me, Father Boniface, oh, that today you listen to God's voice. Harden not your heart. He speaks to you, calling you by name, and telling you, oh, that today you listen to the voice of God. Harden not your hearts. And what is the message today? The message, as I mentioned, has begun as is clear from our second reading. Our second reading was St. Paul writing to the Romans, chapter 11, and verses 8 to 10 begins like this. Owe no one anything except to love one another. Owe no one anything except to love one another. That the text that I should feel I have towards you, or you have towards me, is only one. Are you loving me enough? Am I loving you enough? And many times, Jesus reminds us, there is only one commandment, or rather two. Love of God and love of neighbor. And that is what St. Paul is stressing. And he's saying, among all those other commandments, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, you shall not covet, and any other commandment are sound in this sentence. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. Therefore, brothers and sisters, this morning, as we listen to the word of God, what is that word telling me? Did you listen to the first reading? The book of Prophet Ezekiel? What is God telling me through Prophet Ezekiel? You, son of man, I have made a watchman for the house of Israel. That we are our brother's keeper. We are our brother's keeper. You remember a character in the book of Genesis chapter 3 who was asked by God about his brother? You remember him? By the name of Cain. And then he was asked, where is your brother Abel? What was the answer? What was the answer? Am I brother's keeper? Am I brother's keeper? Now I ask you, my brother and my sister, today, if you look at the person next to you, just look at them. If you don't know who's sitting, you just look at the person next to you. They're your brother or they're your sister. If the Lord asked you today, where is your brother? Where is your sister? what would you answer? You know, they could be sitting next to you, but they are not next to you, they are lost. You know, somebody could be next to you, but they are not there. Only their body is there and they are lost. So you could say, my brother is here, my sister is here, and the Lord will tell you, oh, your brother is not here, your sister is not here, they are lost, and you need to take care of them. And sometimes you need an answer, then you see with the person next to you and say, did I sit next to you? Tell the Lord, Sijui, because you don't want to be next to the person sitting next to you. So this question and this command that we should be able to love our brother and our sister as we love ourselves was not only during the time of Cain and Abel, but even today. The Lord is asking me, where is my brother? Where is my sister? Because He wants me, He wants you. When I hear this commandment that He's telling us, love one another as I have loved you. Love your neighbor as yourself. This is the call. This is the call given to me as a watchman, as a sentry, and therefore am I spreading that word to others, or am I keeping it to myself? Am I warning other people that they need to love each other? Am I warning the others that they need to live as brothers and sisters, taking care of each other, to see that my brother, my sister does not go in want or in need? That is the question. It is not just about what Ezekiel is being told, that if you know that your brother needs to change and you don't tell them, then that brother or that sister will die of the iniquity, but you shall be held responsible. But if you tell them, you shall not be held responsible. How many times are we correcting one another? Many times we look at other people perishing, we look at other people going the wrong way, and we don't say anything. We don't even lift a finger. But even if we do, if a person is taking the wrong turn, instead of telling that person, you start gossiping. And you look at that fellow, you're supposed to be going to KUCC. And look, he's going to AZ. But don't tell him or her. What does it benefit, him or you? If that person takes the wrong turn, and you don't tell him or her, and you start talking about it, what benefit does it add? Is that what we are doing many times? Even among you students, somebody don't go to class, somebody is in a bad relationship, and instead of helping him or her, mnaanza kuzungumza yule jamaa atakiona. Na uambii huyu fresha amedanganya huyu na walaania, na unajua hivyo, na unamwangalia tu wewe. Malaania unajua sio nzuri, lakini fresha sometimes give you a warning, take care of those ideas when they approach you. Just take what they take, show salt. So you, who is a second year, you know that, you informed know that, and unaacha tu jamaa tu anadanganywa na unaona. Yes, that is what it is called. Wacha nikafresha tu, atajua tu. Wacha aishi maisha ya nini? Ya kongwe. Atafanya nini? Atajua. Tell your brother, tell your sister, if you go this way, you are going wrong way. Yes. Not only about relationship, even about being lazy, even about not going to class, even about not going to church, even about doing things that are contrary to what they came to do here. That is what Prophet Ezekiel is telling us. It's not just about things of church, but things of this world. We are called to raise an alarm, raise a flag to your brother, to your sister. Tell them they are taking the wrong turn. But it's got to be a true warning, a correct warning. Do not lie to them. The story that is told of a young man. We used to read these stories when we were growing up, in the stories that we were being taught how to live well. And this young man was in the field taking care of his father's goats. And that time, or that period, he was alone, and therefore when he felt lonely, he raised an alarm. And the alarm could be heard across the ridges to the villages. And the first day he cried and cried, Haina, Haina, Haina. So what did the villagers do? They came running to save their animals and their son from the hyena. When they came, there was no hyena. And the young man laughed and laughed because he had tricked the villagers. And the villagers were very sad and they went away. After another short while, again he said, I think I was so happy. I enjoyed myself when I saw the villagers come running to assist me. So another day again, in the cool of the day, again he said what? Hyena, hyena, hyena. The villagers said, that's our son. Perhaps our goats and sheep had been attacked by the hyena. Amen. And behold, there was no hyena. And this guy was laughing, enjoying himself. And the villagers, were they happy? Were they happy? Now, after 2 days, Mr. Hyena came for real. Yeah? Mr. Hyena came for real. And the young man did what again? Hyena, hyena, hyena. Did anybody come? Did anybody come? No. Brothers and sisters, even when you raise an alarm, it is going to be a true alarm. Even when you are talking to other people, it's going to be something that is true. Because our faith tells us whatever we stand for should be truthful. That is why we are beginning once again. When we listen to the word of God and don't have it in our heart, we shall always be speaking the truth. At the end of this Mass, I, as a priest leading this celebration, will send you away from this church and tell you, go in peace, our Mass is ended. What will I be telling you? I shall be telling you, go and announce what you heard today. Go and spread the gospel you heard today. Woe unto you, you don't spread it, and somebody gets lost because they need to hear that word. And that is what Prophet Ezekiel is reminding us this morning. Let us always know that we are called to be close to the Lord, listen to Him, and spread that word far and wide. The second reading is telling us that when we fulfill the commandment of love, we know that love, or true love, does no wrong to a neighbor. You can actually read today's second reading, chapter 8, chapter 13 of the letter of the Romans. You can read together with the first letter of St. Paul to the Corinthians, chapter 13, that speaks about love. Love is generous. Love does not hurt. Love is patient. Yes, all the litany about love. But today, St. Paul, in this reading, is only giving us one. Love does no wrong to a neighbor. Love does no wrong to a neighbor. Therefore, love is the fulfilling of the law. Love is the fulfilling of the law. And I am repeating these, brothers and sisters, strongly, because many times we have used this word love in the wrong context, and therefore misled ourselves and misled others. Christ in our gospel is telling us that if our brothers and sisters wrong us, what should we do? Should we go telling everybody what has happened? No. We should take our brother aside, our sister aside, and try and reconcile ourselves with them. And many times when we do that, it is possible to lead our brother or our sister when you wrong me, when I wrong you, when you wrong your brother, your parents, when you wrong other people, instead of you coming to me, what happens? That's what you say earlier on. You start going, telling everybody. That does not help you, it does not help anybody. The good book is telling us today, reconciliation is between me and you, reconciliation between two brothers, two sisters, a brother and a sister. And if that does not happen, then take a witness and go and be reconciled. And by the time that reaches, you shall have won your brother. You shall have won your sister. There is not a way when you're going to go all that process and they don't listen to you. The Bible is telling us that if they don't listen to you, treat them as a tax collector. Treat them as if they are people who are not known to you. And I'm sure if you follow God's commandment, when St. Peter asked Jesus, how many times should I forgive a brother who sins against me? Is it 7 times? What was the answer? I do not say 7 times. I say 70 times 7. So even when you and I wrong you or we wrong each other, definitely, before we reach 70 times 7, so that I can say you belong to the tax collectors of the Gentiles, it will be a long time. In other words, we are told, love is patient, love does no wrong to a neighbor. And therefore, we go again to our responsible son that is telling us what? Oh, that today, listen to the voice. Oh, that today, listen to the voice of God. Harden not your hearts. And many times, the voice of your brother, the voice of your sister, is the voice of God. 2 weeks ago, we talked about Peter being given the keys of heaven and earth. And that key, we also say that all of us have a small key. That is our conscience. And when we listen to ourselves, when we listen to what God is telling us, yes, we can again listen to the voice of God. And our hearts will not be hardened. My prayer to you, to myself, and to all of us and to the church, as St. Paul is telling us, owe no one anything except to love one another. If we love ourselves truly, brothers and sisters, then we shall be fulfilling the law of God. And the law of God is that we live as brothers and sisters. Where you're sitting now, and you're sitting next to your brother, are you worried whether they have wronged you or not? Are you worried where they come from? Are you worried whether they are tall or short? Are you worried whether they are comrades or not comrades? Are you worried whether they are dark or not dark? Why? Because we are sitting as brothers and sisters. So what changes when we go out of the church? It's because we have not taken what the Lord is telling us today. Love one another as I have loved you. Treat your brother well. Always be the keeper of your brother. So let us therefore today remain in that love, remain in that law that the Lord is telling us. And Jesus is telling us, when we are bound in love and we agree between ourselves, then the Lord is going to stamp our agreements. Because telling us, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there I am in the midst of them. Are we not gathered here in the name of the Lord? Are we not? Are we not? And therefore the Lord is in our midst. He's speaking to us. He's telling us that we need to always love one another and that we owe nobody anything else apart from love. May the Lord help us to know that true action between me and you is only one word: love. Love, love, love until it pains. Love and love the Jesus way. He loved us until he gave his all on the cross. He loved us until he died on the cross. This is the love that me and you are called to. May the Lord help me to love him, to love you, to love one another all the time, because he has invited me and you today to come and listen to what he's telling us. To come and listen that if I do not love you, if I do not correct you, then I have myself to blame. Let me not laugh at Cain and say Cain was rude to God. Many times we are answering to God that we are not our brother's keeper. May we today be our brother's keeper. Correct them as we correct ourselves, so that we can all move together, listening to the voice of God and not hardening our hearts. Tumsifu Yesu Kristo.